Hi, I'm Sierra Cook, and this is my husband, Canyon Cook. And the chances are, if you're seeing this video, you know some of our story of shaken baby syndrome. But in this video, we're going to tell you our story of walking through his use of pornography, which caused a lot of, betrayal and trauma for me, while also going through hospice care with our daughter, Christa. So that was the baby who was shaken, and she ended up 3 years later on hospice care. So a lot of trauma was happening, and we're going to tell our story in hopes that, if you in your marriage are struggling with this issue, we hope that this video will give you, encouragement and some tools that you can use to work through it within your own marriage. Okay, so you can also go to renewed-marriage.com. That's our website, and we have a lot more resources, podcasts, different things like that on there. So we're just going to dive in to our story. Do you want to start, or do you want me to take off with it?
Sure. I mean, essentially what happened is that Christa ended up going to the hospital, and in that process of her getting put on hospice and things like that, and being separated or whatever it was, I will call it relapsed, because I went back and I used porn.
So
now, I had been off of it for over a year.
And when we got married, we had the understanding, we knew that he had been using pornography since he was, around 13 years old.
It had been over a decade.
And we were like, okay, he's just going to quit. We're married. He's going to quit. It'll be fine.
Yep.
So a whole year went by, and we did really nothing else except just say he's going to quit. So he did that, and that's how we got to this point of now it's been 1 year since he stopped viewing any pornography. And so I was at the understanding that he was over that. We didn't need to do anything else.
Yeah, essentially it was we'll call it cold turkey. It was quick cold turkey. And okay, we're done. It had been over a year since I used any porn.
So we didn't consider.
We didn't even think about it.
That, him going with my daughter, or our daughter, Christa, to the hospital when she was just having some issues before she was placed on hospice care. He just went with her as her father, and took his computer with him. So we didn't think anything of that would be an issue. Okay, you can take it away.
Well, essentially, and I didn't. It wasn't a computer. I didn't have the computer. But what ended
You had the computer and the cell phone. Both.
Well,
yeah.
I don't remember the computer, but the point being is that we just kind of quit cold turkey. There was no process. There was no
to protect him from any kind of temptation.
There was no process or anything that we did to stop. It was just stopping.
Yeah.
And we'll just roll with it, and that's what we did. What we did do is we did put an accountability software on my phone and the computer.
Yeah.
But at that time, we had just taken it off, like maybe a week before.
We're like, we don't need to pay for this anymore. You're fine.
Yeah. And so that was where the temptation leaked in, I guess. But essentially what happened was I used porn that night, one of the nights we were in the hospital, and Christa ended up being put on hospice.
Yeah.
So Sierra at this time, because we came home, and it was like immediately God told her in his own way, something's up. And so we had that conversation.
Yeah.
But what we would call now.
Really what happened was I wasn't thinking about this. Like, I had no idea at all. Because obviously I was focused on like her being put on hospice care. But my phone was dead or something. And I was like, hey, can I see your phone to get on, Pinterest to look up some ideas for her room, just to make it more comfortable for like hospice care stuff. So I opened up that app and I saw the algorithm, of the phone that shows, whatever.
Something popped up.
And so I was like, this isn't right. I started to catch on to like, why is this coming up? And so that led into like digging into all of the things that he had researched. And that's when, we had to have that conversation. And, and we don't share this to like shame him. First of all, I just want to make that clear. And we're sharing this because we know other people have this, struggle, and we want to help people through it just like we were able to get through it, because there were things that we had to do to get through this. It wasn't just like, we just quit and everything was fine. And this is that day, this discovery day, when we, found out that he had something farther than just, I'm quitting cold turkey. Like, we realized then that wasn't going to work long term, at least.
Yeah, quitting cold turkey does not typically work, and even for us, even for just the general population, saying that you're just going to quit cold turkey, especially with the use of porn, typically doesn't last a year.
Yeah.
Now, for us, it did. For most people, it doesn't. You're talking about a week, month, couple months, maybe at the most.
Yeah. And so you can imagine in that position how I was feeling first. I was feeling completely betrayed, so upset. I really couldn't put too much thought or time into it because I just found out my daughter was on hospice care and didn't know how long she had to live. And we were going through all this, getting these nurses in, all these different things that I had to focus on compared to like being able to just put all the focus on what was going on. But I felt so betrayed, so hurt, so, but then I also needed him because I was going through so much trauma in both ways that I needed him to be my rock for me going through my daughter being on hospice care. And so I call her my daughter because she was from a previous marriage, and this is not the man who shook her. The man I was previously married to shook her, just to make that clear too. But you can also imagine how bad he felt. So he was very remorseful, and he didn't know why he did that. And so when you start to research the topic of pornography and what it does to your brain, and it being something that, sure, you do make your own choices and you can have self-control, but at the same time it also does something to your brain physically when you're watching pornography. And so he felt awful to be putting me in that position, and to just absolutely breaking my heart, and on top of that knowing that all this hospice care stuff was going on. So like, he felt horrible. But so we decided then, there has to be more than just you saying you're going to quit. Like, I'm not going to believe that again ever. We have to actually find help. Like, who is out there that can help us? This didn't work. Now we're in a very desperate situation. We should have taken care of this whole year that we, knew this was going on. We should have got professional help. We should have looked into this more. And now we're regretting that because it's coming back. It's always coming to the light. Like I think it says in the Bible, doesn't it? Like, whatever is
in the dark will come
done
into the light.
In the dark will come to the light. Yeah. And so at the worst possible time for me, this was all coming to light, that this needed to be taken care of, that this needed to be worked through more than just saying I'm going to quit, because it was a physical, chemical thing in his brain that was causing him to go back to that, to revert back to that, whether that was because of such a stressful situation or a coping mechanism, so we had to start looking into that.
Yeah, and the biggest point to that is, having researched this and spent, thousands of dollars figuring out about this stuff and reading books and all these things, that, like she said, that the use of porn physically changes a brain. And so subconsciously, the brain is constantly looking for different things that it can use to compensate for not using porn. And so as it does that, essentially, it's trying to get the guy or whoever to go back to it, because it can be women as well. So it's very few, but it can be women as well that use porn. Yeah. So, and we also learned the great need in talking about this and helping other people, because there are some crazy statistics out there about the use of porn and the use of porn in the church. And so, we're believers. Everybody on here knows that we are. In the church, there's a huge group of people that use porn.
Yeah.
And that includes pastors. So, having said that, we are here to bring what we've learned and help you guys to walk through this process, how to do it for the best way for your marriage, because on top of that, very few churches help with it, where they put you through counseling, and the counseling is essentially, pray and stop.
Yeah.
And that's usually it.
So there are things, we're here to let you know that there are things you can be doing every day to work through this, to fight back against it, to defeat it. It doesn't have to be this way forever. Maybe you have experienced something similar and you're feeling stuck. You're like, I don't know what to do next. I don't know. We've tried. Maybe you've said, I've tried to stop and I just can't. Maybe, as a wife of someone who's using pornography, You feel like this is never going to end. You're never going to trust him again. And you just don't know what to do. And so that's what we're here for. That's why we're sharing this story.
And we want to encourage you too, because this is something that we've gotten over and over again, is that it's okay. It's just a thing that guys do, whatever.
Yes. Every time.
The culture tells you that it's okay and that you shouldn't be upset with it.
If you read the comments on this video, I'm sure you'll see people defending pornography and saying how, all these things. But we're sharing this for the people who don't feel that way, who are Christians, who know it's wrong. Okay, you can find it in the Bible that it is for sure wrong. And then outside of that, there's plenty of statistics of it, adding to contributing to divorce and things like that. And so anyways, we took a lot of different steps to work through this. And so we're here telling you this today because we have created a 6-step, 6-week program where we help you. We walk you through this, okay? We're going to give you the different steps to help you go from I don't know what to do, I don't know who to turn to having a solid plan. So you can take actions every single day to work towards healing, to work towards never going back to this again, and to work towards rebuilding trust within your marriage, because it is possible. And we're here to say it's possible. And so you can find links to that in the description of this video, and you can also go to renewed-marriage.com.
And I was just going to say for the guys, this isn't just something that we just go talk about and you internalize it and it makes you feel better that you're trying to stop. This is actually on the daily doing something physically to help you.
Yeah, and to help your spouse, your wife, because she needs support in this too. She needs for you to have empathy towards her. And so we're going to teach you also how to work together as a team, even though you may be thinking like, I cannot work with him, I'm upset with him, I'm betrayed by him.
We understand that. We've been there. We've been in your shoes doing that. You can. Yeah. And you might not be exactly the way you think, but you can. And
so to wrap up the whole story of the hospice care and everything. So she lived on hospice care for about 2 weeks. So as you can imagine, we were going through, an awful time mentally. It just felt like the end of the world to me. It felt like I wanted to die with her, honestly. And so we did, though, come together during that time. And he was, the person that I leaned on, and he was there for me. And he showed such compassion and empathy, to me, even in those moments of where I was terrible to deal with, I'm sure. I was, angry at him all the time. I'm sure I had a lot of different emotional outbursts and stuff. And so he was still my rock throughout that time. And we got through all of that, with her passing away. And we ended up working on this, for a long time. We dove into this after I was able to grieve. We were incorporating these things still, but we really dove into like the focus of this after I was able to grieve her some.
Yeah, we had to, essentially it was like you had to pick one of the traumas to work on at that point. So we found some very simple things that I could be doing at the same time that didn't necessarily involve her. And then we focused on Christa while she was on hospice until she passed, and then some time after. And then after she passed, or after she had been passed for a while, then we really started honing in on, the use of porn and things like that. Yeah, so and what we needed to do.
A simple thing that you could do right now, like what would you say a simple thing would be that our new baby daughter is over there. I'm going to go get her. Just give like a really simple thing like for men that they could start to do right now. And then for anything else, you can go to renewed-marriage.com to get more help from us.
Okay. So guys and wives, so something that you could do or let your husband know of is essentially, again, what's happened is your brain has physically been changed. It's things that essentially give it the same kind of hit that that using porn would do, but they're smaller hits. So what you could do is simply get a rubber band, put it around your wrist, and then anytime that you feel like you need to go use porn or anytime that you might have any lustful intentions at all. And I got to the point in my fight to where if I looked at a woman at all, that I would, I didn't use a rubber band, but I would pull my hair or I would bite my tongue. And I didn't use the rubber band because Sierra didn't want me to use the rubber band because it was too much of a thing for her. It was kind of like a trigger for her. So what you can do is essentially, if you have any lustful intent whatsoever, that you will snap the rubber band on your wrist, bite your tongue, pull your hair, whatever it might be. I just happen to have hairy arms, and so that's where we got that from, because it's something small enough she might not be able to see it. So that is what we did, and that has actually been proven in studies that have been done on people who use porn to be a very significant factor in helping them to stop all lustful thoughts, intentions, whatever it was, that just including that little tidbit there, it was extremely helpful. So guys, we hope this finds you in a spot where you might need this. Again, if you're going through this, it's not okay for people to use porn. It damages families, it damages relationships, it damages people's walk with God. We learned a lot in our walk on this, and there's a lot more we have to share with you. Again, if you have any questions, email us at info@renewed-marriage, and we hope to see you again in a video on here. Or if you decide to go check out our 6-step, 6-week program, where we'll be having a meeting every week, one meeting for the guys, one meeting for the women, once a week, where we walk through each step with you. All right, guys, thank you. We'll see you a different time.